think that if the moon is a sphere, it wouldn't you couldn't cast a sphere wouldn't cast a circular shadow on a sphere. It would get distorted because the surface would be curved. Right? You're projecting a circle onto a curved surface. It's not going to stay a circle.
Wait, why would the shadow get distorted?
Because only an arc section of the moon would be curved, right? It's a curved surface. It's not a piece of paper. I mean, if you want to say the moon's flat and it's the shadow of the Earth, that would work fine. You mean the flat moon society?
I mean, I guess
how are you going to work it out anyway? How are you going to work it out anyway? You only have an arc section, unless you think that the Earth's shadow is perfectly fitting the angular size of the moon.
Yeah, and this is where the empirical evidence comes in, right? So there's observations that are made in nature that falsify the three-ball idea of an eclipse. Namely, there's eclipses that are observed. Yes, so over the fence is posted in the chat demonstration. So there's eclipses that observed are geometrically impossible. Namely, that the sun and the moon are both visible above the horizon, and the shadow of the moon, the quote-unquote shadow of the Earth, is moving down the surface of the moon toward the horizon. But the sun is also above the horizon. So how can the object that's casting the shadow be coming down when it's under your feet? It's coming down towards you, but the Earth is under your feet. That's geometrically impossible. There's sunset eclipses that have been recorded, which is also geometrically impossible. There's all sorts of problems with it. They don't tell, like, the globe. You got to think of the globe as kind of like someone selling you a used car. They're like, freaking man, it has a great engine. Freaking the stereo's freaking awesome. They don't tell you that the brakes are going, that the clutch is gone, right? That freaking smells like cat piss in the fucking trunk. They don't tell you all that. They're selling you the good points. They don't tell you all the things that don't work. There's a lot of things that don't work. And that's kind of what we did. We say, hey, we're not trying to convince you there's a sweat. We're just going to they say the Earth is a globe, and then they say there's certain things that are observed in nature, and we checked, and it don't check out, bro. Like, that's all we're saying. This shit don't check out.
I see. Okay.
I mean, we take it at face value that it would check out if we checked. And nobody checks, right? We just assume, like Eddie Bravo used to say, Google, what's the distance to the sun? 93 million miles. Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How'd they do that, right? No one ever asks how'd they do that in checks. They just take it at face value that it's true. And, I mean, I understand. People are also taught that to figure this stuff out, like, you have to be some sort of freaking super genius nerd astronomer and freaking buy a freaking 10 by 10 blackboard and 10 boxes of chalk.
Well, I'm not a scientist.
Oh, yeah, I'm not a scientist. Yeah.
Well, we're here every day. I'm not a scientist. I couldn't possibly know that.
Yeah, you can't figure it out because you're not a scientist. But then on the other hand, you're dumb for not believing it. Yep. How does that make sense? How can you be dumb and like dumb and just like ordinary at the same time?
Yeah, and they say that too in the same breath, right? Talking outside two sides of their mouths. You're just too stupid to understand.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a scientist, so I couldn't possibly know.
Smart people automatically believe smart people.
Yeah, you got to be smart to believe smart people. Dumb people don't believe smart people because they're dumb.
But you're not as smart as the smart people. That's the other thing.
Are those smart people smart because they believe other smart people?
Yes.
Infinite progress.
Yeah, it's human centipede.
Oh, God.
There's some psychology for your ass, cowboy.
Oh, man. Nice choice of words.
I mean, you want to do a psychological frickin', you want to have you want to see some psychology, man. Chill for a fucking week in here and watch the people that come in here in the absolute absurd psychotic rage this topic brings them.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I know. I used to host Crit knows we were on this server together, and I used to host these really large talks. Like we get like 300 people in on these like things called stages, and then these I'd have people come on like a couple at a time. We might have 6 or 7, maybe 8 people on stage at once, and I would allow like let's say we're doing flat Earth, I'd allow like 3 flat earthers on, 3 globers on, and then we'd all talk. And there's some pretty interesting discussions. I kind of get lost when the flat earthers like go down the whole the dinosaurs were placed there rabbit hole, and like the Catholics are incubating a bunch of babies and trying to like
Yeah.
and miseducate everybody, like shit like
I
that.
get it, dude.
Yeah,
There's
that's
some,
science
like
fiction.
what we call esoteric flat earthers. We're not in that group, bro.
I told him that earlier. I was saying
We
that
were
to him.
talking about that earlier. Yeah.
I
That shit
told him.
infuriates me. All of that.
But I like to come to it. I'm like, okay, what do we
Listen,
know?
Cowboy, on interrogation, you'll find out they're not actually flat earthers. They're just they're just fucking edgelords.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because if they cared anything about information being told, they would care more about how it's investigated, how people know what they know. Like, is it something that could be substantiated, that could withstand scrutiny?
Mm-hmm.
That's something you should be looking for if you have a talk with somebody. Be more concerned with how they got to the point of a conclusion of the information they're presenting you. And if they can't do it, then what are they saying? They just have another belief system? Like, that's not going to work. Yeah, we're trying to get people out of the muck and mire of just believing everything, and not putting things to the test. So in order to do that, we need to have some sort of foundation for them to begin their journey, not just give them another thing to believe in. Well, there's a map of the Earth on the moon, guys. Like, that's stupid. Why the hell are we going to do that for?
A lot of people come into flat Earth with other ideas, right? Like ether or like aliens. So like, how do I plug all this in, right? Like I'm not letting go of that stuff, as it's got to work with flat Earth now, right? So next thing, you got outer lands that the aliens come from instead of other planets. Right?
Yeah, we'll move the reptilians underground, guys.
Yeah, the Masonic reptilian overlords. Dude, I swear, I don't know.
Yeah, it's infuriating. I think Nathan Oakley nailed it when he calls it the feast of nonsense. If you're interested in flat Earth, there's a veritable feast of nonsense out there being perpetuated by people who call themselves flat earthers. And they might be more numerous than us here in 24/7, sadly. So the general public sees all this crazy bullshit and thinks that that's what we think. So Globers come in to argue, and they're surprised to find out that we don't subscribe to any of that nonsense. And they think we're supposed to. And then they think we're being disingenuous. Like, what the fuck?
That's crazy.
This is your map, and you're supposed to believe in the ice ring Antarctica and lands beyond it, and toroidal ether and all of that. What do you mean you don't believe any of that?
Like Professor Phil.
You're supposed to believe that gravity's electricity.
Professor Phil, after all this time, we've been saying that that's not what we're saying. Will still come in here and repeat the very same thing he does, like the same antics he did the last time. So you guys are saying that the ice wall, and it's like, dude, we've been over this. I don't know how many times with you. We're not saying that. Like, it's doesn't change.
Right. I mean, there may be some weird shit going on beyond our realm of knowledge. And that's fine if you want to speculate, but I mean, to hold yourself out as a flat earther and then these are the things that make you a flat earther is just absolutely batshit crazy to me. Yeah, Indio nailed it, man. These are edgelords. At the end of the day, you talk to them, you find out that they're either here trying to rage bait people and win online arguments, or they're here to try to be a guru and offer some really mind blowing perspective on a new cosmology. And then
Yeah,
meanwhile, 24/7's hanging back here, and we're like, no, man, we just want to talk about what we see and what's real.
they've uncovered the secret maps that are hidden in the basement of the Vatican. So they're here to kind of like tell the world about it. They come in here with like this little angle or secret knowledge that no one else has, and like, yeah, well, you guys never thought of it. Like, that's dumb.
Have you guys ever interacted with an individual who goes by Pickle or Newt?
Yes, dude.
I
Pickle
want to
Rick,
see what
dude,
you guys think about him, because he had good things to say about y'all, and I love Pickle.
Oh.
Like, me and him go back and forth.
Dude, they were
or at
they
least
were
we used to.
let me say this. They were touting him as the debate god. Before, when we got into this channel here in politics, everybody's like, dude, you need to watch out for Newt, man. He's like the best of the best. Like, that guy is top tier when it comes to debating. And we were like, I was like, yeah, okay. Really like to have a chat with him to see what he's like. I mean, dude, that was far from like the expectation that I had, because of the way they built him up. They built him up to be some sort of like superior, like debate king. You know, it was not that.
Yeah, isn't that where Heretic is like, hey, our plumb line straight lines? Our plumb line straight lines. Was that the guy that he was doing
No.
that with?
No, that was Great Angelo, and he's an entomologist. No, that's not him.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah. Like, fuck you.
But it's like,
No, Newt, I have recorded with him a conversation. He thinks that there could be a container, but it's probably like a membrane around the Earth. I have him on a recording. He thinks it's like a ferro fluid kind of thing. The way he was describing it. I don't know what he thinks about now, but that's what he was saying back then.
I know that he's very into the esoteric stuff, so that's why I asked.
Perhaps.
wait, is Newt the guy that says that he's building a large language model, and he comes in here and he's trying to get flat earthers to add to it because we're kind of like an element of chaos and random elements that he needs to make his unique?
I don't know, maybe. I've never heard him say that, but he does have like this knowledge that he feels that he's more superior than another glober that comes in here speaking. And he'll tout his knowledge in a way like that, like, oh, that you got it wrong. That's high school knowledge. Like, he'll say it like that.
Yeah. But yeah, you're thinking of the right person. He was drilling a hole through the event horizon or something.
Yeah, I remember that. That was Newt. Drilling a hole through the event horizon. I remember.
That's funny. Woo! Are you doing it now, Newt? Like, ask him, like,
Well, I guess, when you're smart enough to be paid by a private foundation to do anything you want on the internet, you can come up with ideas like that all day long and have fun.
When you speak, sometimes the last thing that you say is cut off. I think that you might need to hold down the push to talk a little bit longer, or give it a second. I don't know why. like the last word set, like word or two left on.
Okay, yeah. I mean, sometimes Discord lags. Like I press the push to talk and it doesn't immediately activate, and the other opposite happens.
Yeah, I know, man. That's why I'll kind of hold it for a kind of a millisecond longer after I finish saying something, just to make sure it gets through.
All right, cool. Thanks for the tip. I got to go now anyway, so time to
Hey,
get into this
one more
office
second,
environment.
Silver. Yeah, I'm going to be supposedly at about 35,000 feet. I just wanted to see if you had any way for me to prove the dip correction on the airplane.
Correcting to what?
You know, where since it's got to bend down for the humpy curve of the Earth, so I figure the 2-hour flight, it ought to be dipping down about 6,000 miles.
You need to somehow like lock a gimbal to your initial reference point and use that as an absolute frame of reference to measure angular change over time against.
Yeah, I'm only saying in jest, but yeah, I'll be in the air here in about an hour and a half, somewhere in that vicinity. 2.5 hours.
Cool, man.
Heading,
Yeah,
heading
so
up to the
so a
Northeast
pitch
corridor.
reading that is a pitch reading that is not against an absolute frame of reference, but a local frame of reference only is not going to show any curvature deviation over a globe, even if it did exist, according to the globe.
Oh, there's no way. No, I was just teasing because it's a bad argument. But anyway, have a good day, and I'll wrap with you soon.
Okay. All right. Have a good time. Have a good flight.
Yeah, I'll be back near that restaurant, not really far, that we talked about. So, talk soon, my friend.
Okay. See ya.
Stay blessed, man.
I've uncovered a lot of crazy information about avionics and the airframe gyro itself. It is just insane. So there's actually like CFR 49 is limits NTSB or any government's authorities in fully releasing the unprocessed raw gyro data from the ADARU. This data would include what is said to be the initial calibration alignment with the axis of the globe that is supposedly done on the runway, or on the tarmac rather, before they push off.
Fascinating. Why do you hypothesize they're not able to release that?
Well, I go based off of what they say, and they say that they're not in the business of releasing what could be considered extremely valuable trade secrets to these companies that develop these devices, because the uncompensated raw data would allow engineers to potentially back engineer how the device works, to include identifying flaws within the device itself, and then make a more competitive copy of it without doing their own research. That's just one thing. I mean, it goes into potential national security concerns.
So protection of trade secrets versus passenger safety. Yeah.
Precisely. Yep.
Well,
So I pay for two large language model subscriptions.
It's just dumb.
It is dumb. It's contradictory to what the whole purpose of NTSB is for, to investigate crashes and malfunctions of equipment for public transportation. So it's bonkers, dude. So I've got a subscription to Super Grok, and I've got a subscription to Google Gemini Pro version, and I've used both of their research agents to go find me raw uncompensated gyro data, particularly at the initialization of the gyro, which is supposedly detecting Earth curvature rotation around an axis. And both of them have continuously come up empty, saying this doesn't exist. And it probably doesn't exist for these reasons. Now, what it did find was it did find simulated data and some NASA document and some simulated data for like a university class on this. And then it found related technology data that's not the same thing as the ADARU, and not the same thing as some INS on a boat, but something else. I forgot what it was called. But it too was only able to obtain second and third order data and not original unfiltered raw data. So I'm coming up empty. I mean, I'd really like somebody out there to go find this stuff and even, to even validate that it exists.
May need to interview some people in person in order to get those questions answered.
Well, it's like, okay, let's go to commercial industry and let's go pull up some examples. I want to see like field testing of these devices. I want to see a meta study on a bunch of these devices that have been compared to each other. I want to see what kind of data they're spitting out, what kind of errors are also being put out, how errors are compensated, and so on and so forth. But none of this exists in the public domain anywhere.
Somebody once told me that if we knew how chaotic aviation was, we'd never fly or go anywhere.
Right. I'll tell you what I have found. Based off of their own claims, they claim that during the initial inertial alignment phase, where they are recording Earth's rotation with the airplane around the globe axis, that they use that data to then subtract it out of the attitude readings and velocity readings of the aircraft. And this subtraction then is delivered to a computer that goes ahead and adds in WGS 84, and goes in and adds in Earth transport rate rotation, and adds in Coriolis, so that the output could be matched to GPS systems and other navigation conventions. So they claim that they take it out, that they zero out the instrument based off of physical readings of globe rotation, and then they add in a model afterwards. I find that to be pretty silly. I mean, I've got like a PowerPoint presentation describing this in my stack of stuff. I've got so much crap that I need to organize.
Should put it through the AI. Yoder, put it through the AI. Let it do it, the sorting.
I did Google Notebook and SuperGrok.
Then you're gonna have your own. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, like, would you consider yourself to be pretty knowledgeable about like prominent flat Earth explanations and models for like weather and stuff like that?
There we go.
Oh shit. Okay.
Welcome to 24/7 Flat
Yo,
Earth
Crit, are you
Discord.
still here?
Please try to remain civilized and cordial.
Yeah, it was fun listening to that Aussie guy fumble and stumble with Indio. Yeah, that was good. I think he was out of his element. He was out of his league.
Yeah, dude. Fish out of water much, huh?
Who is this Aussie character?
Roadhouse on Twitter.
Roundhound.
Oh, was he
sorry,
the one that was doing the debate?
Roundhound. Yeah, sorry, I got Roadhouse.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard about that earlier. I was curious. I guess he was coming from like a debunking flat Earth type of view.
They all do.
So, like,
They all do.
when people try to debunk flat Earth, do any of them come from a like weather standpoint? Like,
Nope.
how does flat Earth explain the weather, cloud formations, blah blah
Nope.
blah? No,
Nope. They don't know
that
half of the most of 90% of the stuff that they say they don't know. So if they even start talking about anything, it's mostly mainstream information.
okay. So like, because usually, like, well, not usually, like, one of the main things that I understand that like globe Earth has, like, one of the best arguments for globe Earth, at least from my understanding, is like weather patterns, and explaining how, like, oh, like different storm systems can have different like pressure outcomes on part of the world, and then as the Earth spins around and as the sun heats different parts of the ocean, then like we can explain weather patterns that are going to come up based on that heating and rotation of the Earth,
Yeah, but
and blah blah
what is
blah.
what does the rotation have to do with the weather pattern? Can you correlate that for us here in the room? Like, what? How does it make sense that the Earth spinning is going to cause some sort of fluctuation in weather?
Well, depending on like the rotation and the position with Earth and the sun, there's going to be different weather patterns because the sun will be heating more intensely, like
Yeah,
different parts
but
of the ocean.
that's the explanation
Uh,
you've been given. How can you prove
mhm.
that is actual truth? It's a truth claim. Like the truth of the
um,
claim that you're thinking about. How do you know that it's true?
well, like outside of flat Earth, like I don't believe there's a lot of things that we can know for certain, right? Like,
Are you certain of this thing? Are you certain of this one thing that you're saying that will solidify the point that what makes you think the Earth is a globe based on weather? Like, if you are, I'd like to hear it. I want to know how you made the connection to like weather patterns and the Earth being a globe. I want to hear it. Do you? I mean, does anybody else? I do.
well, I'm not certain, but I would say
Ah.
that it would make the most sense.
Oh, that's not a good. That's not a good
Huh?
place. That's not good, bro. You can't say that. Like, you either know or you don't know. And if it's something that you don't know, intellectual honesty, I don't know.
Well, where I'm coming from is like, um, I don't think there's a lot of things that people can be certain of. It's just like with the models that that we're told are like the most likely. Like, there's certain bits and pieces of evidence that make more or less sense, right? Like,
Based
just
on what
simply
though?
saying,
There's no standard
huh?
though. You're there's like you might think you have some sort of standard by saying, no, well that seems to check out in my mind. That works out. But you don't have something that you can put it against. Like, you don't have something to say, okay, I know that's true about the weather pattern and the Earth rotating because I have a base of understanding of how the Earth rotating would affect these things. There's nothing you're putting it against. You're just accepting some sort of explanation that gives you a confirmation bias on the worldview that you think you have right now. It's not true, is what I'm saying. Nothing that you said actually manifests that information into the physical world, except for that you believe it. That's the only thing.
Okay.
I mean, the logic is sound here, cowboy.
Yeah. So like, I guess, like, could you expand on like what your position is with regard to like weather systems and whatnot?
Right. That has to do with pressure and temperature. And depending where the sun is, in accordance to like your geographic position, weather patterns change and or
Mm-hmm.
fluctuate. So, and there's systems that are caused on the earth due to currents. The currents that run on the earth, like currents in the ocean, currents in the air, like the jet stream that they talk about. So there's a lot of currents that this earth operates off of and changes and fluctuates. So these weather patterns are cyclical in nature, right? They repeat.
Yeah.
And some are stronger, some are weaker. I mean, but either way, we don't need a spinning globe Earth to actually talk about weather. We can use just pressure and temperature to actually have a better cohesive understanding about what weather is and how it works.
But like, how would you then explain like seasons?
Well, like I said, the sun actually motivates a lot of the weather patterns that we have. So,
Mm-hmm.
depending on what time of year it is for you and where you're located, the sun will be farther closer to you in your area. So, as it approaches and it moves away, there will be a fluctuation in weather that you would see, like the rainy season or the hot season or the cold season. Like, just depends. So
Yeah.
its proximity to your geographic location usually dictates the fluctuating patterns in weather. I mean, that's apparent. That's what we know. So outside of the worldview that you need a spinning globe Earth, you don't need that. You just need the proximity of the sun. So you could think of it like a globe, but there's no evidence that the globe itself is actually attributing the weather pattern changes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Except for you believing it. That's it. The only thing that you have is a belief that it does.
Some things still don't even make sense to me. Like, either way, I mean, it's 11:45 p.m. for me right now, and I'm in a t-shirt and shorts. It's dark. And it's great. Like, it's so moderate. It's just lovely. But 2 months ago, this time, I would have been freezing my butt off. Like, that's just.
Oh, is it
How
becoming
does it?
summer for you guys in Australia?
Yeah. I mean, but it's like it's summer
Oh.
already, bro. It's like it's summer already this year. I mean, it's crazy. But, like, how does that work? Where's the sun to Give me this warmth that I'm experiencing right now. It's gone. It's not here.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah. Regardless, I mean, you could think of it like a globe, but it doesn't affect the. You can't tell me how the weather is modified by the Earth being a globe and is spinning. You get me?
Hmm.
So yeah, it works fine on the horizontal plane. I mean,
I'm gonna have it.
unless, like I said,
So
you have some knowledge that's superior that I don't know about, and you're going to tell me. But other than that, all I know is that you've been told a story that the Earth is spinning and it's a globe, and I mean, we got fluctuating weather patterns based on the sun where it is on the tilt of the Earth and how much sunlight it's getting. You know that explanation. But
gotcha. So like under your model, like the sun can change its relative distance to Earth or position to Earth, rather than the other way around.
It's just what reality. Just reality, man. Just what you see in reality. You can only make because those things we don't know what they are and how they function. Right? The mechanism. All we have is like correlation to our experience of those things.
Hmm. Yeah, this is true. It's true for several fields, you know. Um, let's see, what time is
well,
it?
I mean, here's a question to ask, right? Because it seems like somebody that's very knowledgeable about the Earth being a globe and that does weather, they could tell you how the Earth being a globe would affect weather, like a meteorologist. I think that's a question for one of those guys. And when you
Mhm.
ask them the question, tell them what direct information do we have that the Earth, because it's a globe and it spins, that we have fluctuating weather patterns that affects the weather. Like then they could give you a direct answer, and then you could actually build off of a case that from them studying weather, they could tell you. Because it doesn't sound like it's a solid case for the Earth being a globe, as you might have thought. Because it doesn't sound that way to me. Not from what I heard, anyway.
I see. Yeah. Yeah, my knowledge only goes to like I know about the different uh like latitudes and longitudes. There's like these I don't know if you want to call them vortexes or like streams that are deemed as being responsible for uh like large scale weather patterns. So like there's a reason why hurricanes tend to form off the coast off of Africa and then move west until they keep moving northwest into the Caribbean and then into like, the Florida Keys or whatever. Um, there's like these explanations for that and how like the ocean warming coincides with these vortexes and then it pushes the hurricanes and several different types of weather formations. And this happens too off the coast of Japan when they get monsoons and typhoons during their hurricane season. And, I know about stuff like that. And I was in a climate change lab for a little bit as a researcher. So we got to learn about,
Oh, good.
different seasonal weather patterns and shit like that.
Now
And
tell
how
me,
those affect.
well, it's important,
Mhm.
right? But now tell me, from that study, what can you glean off of that you can really directly correlate that has to do with the Earth's rotation and or the Earth being a spherical, planet? Like, what can you say from those studies that ties directly into that?
Well, I don't know if there's too much of anything that'll tie into like the shape of Earth or rotation. I mean, we were studying how seasons affect snow melt and how that snow melt affects plant and animal life, and
Okay.
with increased supposed like increases in heat and decreases in ozone, how would that affect the plant and animal life, and
Fauna,
would it
yeah,
increase
fauna and flora.
diversity? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But what I'm saying though is, in those conversations and the study, was the globe Earth being a ball spinning? Did it affect that in any way that you had to talk about it? Like it was a factor, in other words.
um well, I guess with assuming like the seasons and the way they work, I guess to that extent, but not really.
Right. I just want to make it make sense to you, because if it was something that you directly experienced with a study, and you're like, we needed to talk about the spin of the Earth right here, or the Earth's rotundity, like you would have mentioned that and be like very adamant about that position. Anybody would. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Anyway, um, I just wanted to elucidate that so that you can actually be like, okay, I know that I've talked about this, so here's what I know about it. And it seems like the discussion was more on the fauna and flora and wasn't like really based on like the spin of the Earth or the Earth's rotundity.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think I vaguely remember us talking about the way that birds move, like between the hemispheres, and how, um, you know, with increased snow melt, it could lead to changes in their migration patterns where you're seeing them migrate much sooner and staying in places for longer, and that would then change the food webs where birds are preying a lot more and staying longer in these areas, preying on insects and whatnot, and they're increasing their populations, and that would change to much more larger migration patterns between the hemispheres, and and it could change up the food webs. um with the bird migration patterns, it's super interesting because like as most people are taught, like they move from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere. I think it's like every 6 or 7 months, and they do that to stay in ideal hunting conditions and weather conditions and whatnot. And I don't know. I guess like a non-globe model would be able to explain that well as simply like with the because we already talked about like the weather patterns and seasons, like they wouldn't need to be on a globe in order to navigate.
Yeah, exactly that. But I mean, I always like to strike at the heart of the matter, right? If somebody thinks that there's some type of relationship that the Earth has, being that it's spinning and it's curving, let the person actually describe in what way they interacted with that information that corresponds to the one that they know, like studying the animal behavior, like it interacts with it, because it would make sense
Hmm.
to you, right, at some level to say it with assurance, like, yeah, I know how the spin of the Earth would affect bird migration or whatever, but it's not really being mentioned or talked about because it seems inconsequential when it comes to like that discussion. So thereby negating the fact that it did have a relevance.
Like, what do you mean?
So if bird migration had something to do because the Earth was a globe that was spinning in the vacuum of space, don't you think that would
Yeah.
have been something that you understood was a true uh, fact that you discovered,
Um.
or at least be happy to talk about it?
Well, like, I don't know. I guess I view facts as being as a little different because it's like one of the coolest classes I took in college was called epistemology. And it's basically the study of knowledge, and it's like, what can you know for certain, right? Is like a really big question in that field. And when you dig deep into it, you kind of realize there's not a lot of things you can know for certain. There was one philosopher, um, Rene Descartes, who, and stop me if you know what I'm talking about, but he basically remarked that the only thing that he could know for sure is that he existed. Because in order for him to be able to think of these things and ask these questions to himself, he has to exist. Because he was thinking to himself, like, okay, what exactly do I know? And this was a dude who was like in the 1600s, right? He's thinking to himself, do I know that a chair is a chair? Like, what are objects? Do I know that? How do I know whether or not anything that I'm seeing is real? Like, there could
Yeah.
very well be an evil little demon that is fucking around. It's basically the Matrix, where, like, how do you know that you're in the Matrix, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
Direct
the only
realist.
thing you can know is that
So
you exist.
yeah, direct
Um,
realism. I don't know, Yoder, were you gonna say that?
Yeah, I was going to say we're direct realists. We deal with these kinds of questions every day in here and talk about epistemology, epistemics at length. Totally.
mhm.
You know, and
Yeah.
we ridicule people who
Unfortunately.
say that they're unsure if they have hands
Yeah,
because you
some of
can
the
That are
find,
unsure if they have hands.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
or unsure if they had breakfast this morning, who don't
I
know how
mean,
they'd feel if they didn't eat breakfast. We talk to people like this all the time, and we make fun of them.
Yes, we do.
yeah. I mean,
Okay,
at
so there
some
was a
point,
debate. Me and AB talked to a PhD in mathematical physics. It
mhm.
devolved into epistemology, where he said, "I can't even prove I don't have hands." Meanwhile, while he's saying that, he's live streaming on TikTok, typing on his keyboard. I don't know what he's typing with because I don't know. He wasn't typing with stumps.
And his hand came across the screen at least once. So Clipcord got an image of him doing it. His hand was big, like went in front of his face. But
yeah.
it's the same mindset that you would. I don't know. Do they teach this in like the collegiate level, Indio? Like, is that why
Yeah.
Cowboy
Yeah,
he's got like this like
they've been
epistemology
teaching
where
for like 100 years, at least
it's a,
100.
it's like a brain worm, dude. Once it gets in your brain, like you can't get it out. You got to. I mean, unless you're able
Oh,
to like rationalize with it, like, okay, let me see if I know if that's even true. Thinking like that, because
well,
what it
so
sounds like, Cowboy,
Like all those.
you're
Well,
borrowing from
yeah,
a logical worldview, bro, just to make sense of a incoherent worldview. You get me?
um, I guess so. I mean, I was gonna say, like, at least in that class, like, we kind of got past the, uh, even the professor brought up the example of how can you know that you have hands. Um,
Oh God, was it him? It might have been him.
well,
oh my God.
no. The professor was making fun of that.
Uh,
And I like to respond to these dumbasses by saying, if you're really gonna, like, say you don't even know if you have hands, like, don't even try to open doors. Don't even try to wave to people. Um, because you clearly don't know if what you're doing is even like making sense, or
yeah.
and so, like, he was a really cool professor because he's actually the guy who wrote the entire Stanford encyclopedia on epistemology. He's a really cool professor.
Ooh.
And he basically gave us all these different types of schools of thought for epistemology, and my favorite one was evidentialism, where they think it's only okay to believe in something if you can justify the evidence for that belief. So, um, we went into all these different schools of thought. The hands one is really stupid, and the evil demon one is stupid too, because he basically was telling us how, if you do actually believe these things, you might as well be a solipsist, and no one ever gets anywhere with solipsism. There's no point in having other conversations with other people who you believe like they might not exist, and there's no point of
Nothing is
doing.
coherent. It's an incoherent worldview. But and
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't listen. It's because it's self-contradictory. It's inconsistent, and just to even espouse it is a performative contradiction, right? Who are you talking to? Yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Like you're talking to yourself. Like if you're just a brain in the jar, dude, and you don't only have are a mind.
The brain in the
Every
vat.
reference at
Yeah.
your ideas, chairs, books. What is your mind acting upon? Where like the initial ideas, right? Are they self-generated? Did it come from nothing? No, they come from the external world, right?
Yep.
The fact he even
Yeah.
knows what the chair exists, so he can wonder, is the chair just in my mind? Well, where'd you get the idea of a chair in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
From the external world. The idea, so here's something you probably didn't quite. So Thomas Reed refuted all these guys at the time, though it's not well taught in philosophy courses. He wrote, inquiring into the human mind on the principles of common sense. These people don't actually believe what they're saying because if they did, like you said, they'd be solipsists. They wouldn't bother writing books. They wouldn't bother
Mm-hmm.
making arguments or philosophical arguments about, I can't know anything except my mind. They wouldn't bother doing these things if they actually believed it. They don't actually believe it. They're just doing mental masturbation.
Yeah.
It sounds cool and it's edgy. Oh, I'm edgy. What if we're all just brains in a jar? I'm so edgy.
Yeah, it gets ridiculous because there was a couple of people who would
think-
bring up
They think
these
it's deep or
solipsist
something,
points.
dude. They think it's like
Yeah,
some
and it's
deep,
just like, oh,
profound
come
fucking
on,
idea.
dude. Yeah. It's just like this is some like low IQ shit, Like
Hell
that's a
yeah.
new phrase that I like bringing up in the middle of like debates or like conversations. Like this is so low IQ,
It really is.
Like
So low.
Well, like
But
Indio's
we run
conversation
into
with
it
the lad
because
yesterday.
yeah. I just want to say this. So we run into this brain in a jar thing all the time because when they come in and they fail to prove the Earth is a globe, they try to blow up reality itself. If the Earth's not a
Mhm.
globe, then we can't know anything at all because my entire identity and worldview is anchored in the globe. So if that's not real, I don't know if anything's real.
Mhm.
So we deal with it on a daily.
Yeah, I think Indio, you hit the nail on the head. You did say it was an existential crisis, but I layered it with the identity crisis as well because they don't know who they are anymore, and also they don't know what world they're in. So they're trying to figure all this out, and it's too much for the brain to handle all at once. So then they
Well,
just
this is true.
they go to the fact that they can't even know if reality is real as an escape hatch. They're like, oh, I could if I say this, I don't have to be held accountable for knowing anything. That way, I can feel safe. It's like a, you want the mind to retreat to its little safe haven where it doesn't have to feel like it's stressed out by thinking of these things.
That's a natural response, though, that they've found in psychology. Like, this happens to a lot of people who come across evidence that their religious beliefs are bullshit. Um, and, they'll either become more religious in their beliefs after dealing with the cognitive dissonance, is what it's called, or they will have to go through the cognitive dissonance and basically disavow their previously held beliefs. So
We go through the
they'll,
stages of grief. We see it all the time, dude.
yeah,
It's literally the stages of grief. They're going through the stages of grief to their old identity. They're literally burying themselves.
yeah, it happens to people who get out of relationships. They're like, well, now how can I trust anyone? I trusted this one person and they ruined my life. And now I just, I
Oh,
just want
there's
to curl up
songs
in a
written about
ball.
it. There's songs that Michael Bolton. How can I live without you? Like, people
Yeah.
they
Maybe
go
come
into
back.
this. I mean, we see it throughout history, right? Like, in order to cope with that, you have to find some sort of way to deal with the issue, and that's how the mind formed this other epistemology of like escapism. Well, maybe we're
Well,
just
yeah.
all in the
Like,
matrix, like nothing's real.
but when you really think about the implications of, say, Christianity being entirely false, or flat Earth, like a globe Earth being propaganda. Like you have to think, okay, not only is it just the case that the Earth isn't a sphere, but I have been lied to by many people. Many people believe this lie. Many people have perpetuated this lie. What is the reason for them
It's not a lie
perpetuating
if they
this
believe
lie?
it.
Huh?
It's not a lie if they believe it. Lying implies intent.
Well, yeah.
If they
Once they
believe it,
stop
then they're
believing
telling the
it,
truth. They're just wrong. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. But once they stop, and then they start to think to themselves, well, like there's all these crazy lies about the shape of the Earth, which is like a crazy concept. Like
We
holy
don't see
shit,
them
people
at,
have
well,
been
at least I
lying
don't see
about the.
them as lies, dude. They're just wrong. Nobody's lying, really. To lie, you'd have to know the truth that the Earth is flat and then start telling everybody something else. And then when you actually drill down and who would even know enough to even lie, that it's an exceedingly small amount of people. It's just more like a Western tradition, like Santa Claus. Everybody just says it.
Yeah.
Earth's the globe, and just nobody's lying. It's just they all believe it, so they're not lying. They're just all wrong. There's a bunch of people that all in an echo chamber telling each other Earth's the globe. That's all it is. Echo chamber nonsense.
Well. So, what would you say like about the people who've like NASA astronauts, or like people who've launched rockets into space or launched satellites and whatnot to get satellite
I mean,
imagery of the world?
well, I mean, that goes, first of all those quote unquote imageries, they're computer generated nonsense. They even admit it, that they can't take a photograph of the Earth in the entirety. The only ones claimed to have taken the photograph of the Earth in the entirety is the Apollo astronauts. And in fact, they're
Hmm.
the only ones who even claim to have seen the Earth in its entirety. So that's like 27 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody else, including people that go to the International Space Station. From the International Space Station, you'd only see 3% of the Earth.
Yeah, it's
So,
pretty close to the Earth. I do know that the
yeah, so
Amazon,
they couldn't
they're
tell from
doing.
their vantage point if the Earth was a ball. And contrary to the freaking pictures they showed, they wouldn't see Earth as a ball. And in fact, astronauts are on record as saying that the Earth looks flat from the ISS. In
Well,
fact,
like
also
I
Chinese
have
space station
seen.
shows a flat Earth.
I've seen live streams from the ISS that kind of make it look like a globe. Like you can
Yeah,
see
I
the
know, but it's
curvature.
No,
nowhere
you
near
haven't.
far enough.
You
That's the
haven't
problem.
actually.
Yeah, see, that's a problem. So no one goes, hey, the geometry don't work out for that to look curved like that. No one even thinks about it for a second. They just accept it. Hey, it's not close to high enough. It's 250
Everybody,
miles above an 8,000 mile diameter ball. Okay, it's barely above the surface. Go ahead, Dita.
right? No, just beside the math, right? That you're pinpointing. We've never had anyone come in here and show us this so-called live stream footage where at the bottom of the screen it didn't say offline.
Oh, you're meaning like you want to see live footage?
What no, but they show even if it's a pre-recording of what was allegedly a live stream, right? At
Hmm.
the bottom, when it's showing the so-called curvy horizon, right? It says offline.
Okay.
When it's when it's not offline, it's just the nadir aspect.
Yeah, they're pointing it straight down. So I just posted in the text chat, the side chat. So this is the geometry. So if you look at the top one, this is Paul Larson. He's he runs at a planetarium. This is a scale model. This is a presentation on flat Earth, and he said from the ISS the horizon would look flat. Okay, even from that altitude, because it's not high
Hmm.
enough. And this is a scale model he made, physical scale model. This the white circle, that would be the entire horizon from left to right. So if you were barely above the surface looking at it, it would just be a line because it's all equidistant. And the bottom one's a diagram showing the relative size. So this is in kilometers. So you have to ask, it begs the question: why does it look curved? You should see some of the stuff that's posted. You have to think about it like this. Okay, what so they say you scale down just so you can think about it in a way that's on your size. If you had a ball that was 6 feet tall, right? The diameter is 6 feet, so the ball is as high as your head, assuming you're 6 feet. The ISS would only be 2.5 inches above its surface.
Yeah.
Super close. It's not even, you would not see. Now, next time you look at an ISS image or photo, go, does this look like a viewpoint of 2.5 inches above a ball 6 feet in diameter? And no, it don't. It looks like you're freaking, would be a foot away from a ball 6 feet in diameter.
I
So,
gotcha.
what I have to say about NASA and all those things, only a small fraction of people, even that work at NASA, would have any knowledge. We have a person that comes in here. His name is Josh Ingersoll. He works for Amazon. They're trying to compete with SpaceX, though. They're supposed to be sending satellites into space to have internet connectivity. It's called the Kuiper. He comes in here, and I got him to admit the other day that he has no special knowledge that the Earth's a ball. Even though he works in the satellite industry and he sells he
Yeah.
sells satellite technology to other companies.
I gotcha. Yeah, I mean, the closest I've gotten to proof, like direct proof of the Earth being a sphere is like I happened to meet through like a friend, and then this guy lived in the neighborhood, and they had like a family meeting. Like it was a whole bunch of like rich people in this rich retirement neighborhood out in Virginia. He worked on the NASA commission, the funding committee or whatever for the original Apollo mission.
Yeah.
And he's very old now. But I got to talk with him about all sorts of different spacecraft and theories, and like what was the actual logistical planning, what were some of the hardest parts about planning on getting to the moon and whatnot. And I think the most interesting thing he told me was about how the planning was originally for the SR-71 Blackbird to be a spacecraft, but the main problem was that they couldn't actually get it out of, I think, the stratosphere because of cooling issues on the engines. So they weren't going to be able to get that thing, over to the moon without losing all the coolant and, yada yada. Like I personally love the SR-71. I think it's like one of the coolest aircrafts ever made. But
Okay. So let me read something to you. The Apollo flight director Gene Kranz recounts, in the late 1960s, our simulation technology had progressed to the point where it became virtually impossible to separate the training from actual missions. The simulations became full dress rehearsals for the missions down to the smallest detail. The simulation tested out the crew's and controllers' responses in normal emergency conditions. It checked out the exact flight plan, mission rules, and procedures with the crew controllers for the use of later flight. Now, hold on. I'm going to read a very important part. The simulations were so real that no controller could discern the difference between the training and the real mission. So your old dude, he don't know anything. At best, he saw a simulation, which nobody could tell was different. Now, I'm not saying there wasn't a real rocket. There was a real rocket. But what they said to go to the moon, when Warner von Braun first wrote about it, said it would take 3 rockets the height of the Empire State Building.
Warner von Braun said it would take 3 rockets the height of the
Yeah, he wrote a book
Empire State
about it.
Building to get to the moon.
To get to the moon, that's right. You would need to transfer from one rocket to the other to the other. But this is before they had rocket stages. So I've heard that used as an excuse. But there's all sorts of people that have made some widget for the Apollo program. There were 300,000 companies that made some little thing, right? Oh, we're going to make the sticker for their, we're going to make the little logo that goes on their suit. We're going to make the zipper. We're going to make, you know what I mean? The money was spread all over America. Now you have to remember, simultaneous to this, the Vietnam War was going on.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a little anecdote. I know a guy, he's passed away now. He passed away like a year and a half ago. He was in Vietnam during the Apollo mission. So when they went to the moon, he was in Vietnam fighting. Okay. He said he was a radio operator. He said he used to make a phone call home, okay, to Boston, and the two-way delay was 18 seconds. And now this is called the Mars Auxiliary Radio System. Okay, so these are radio bounces. This isn't a wire. This is radio bounces. And it took that long because of all the switching. If you look at the Nixon's moon phone call, have you ever seen it?
No.
It's a landline phone call. So supposedly they picked up the signal in Australia, ran it through undersea cables across America to Richard Nixon's phone in the Oval Office where he had a conversation. There's literally no time delay in the talking. None. Zero. Nothing. The moon landing is phonier than a $3 fucking bill, bro. Did you know they lost everything? All the tapes, all the evidence is all gone.
For the moon landing?
Yeah, the Apollo tapes. They actually had an investigation into it. They lost, allegedly lost, probably never existed in the first place, 2,600 bankers' boxes of tapes of telemetry data. Now, the telemetry data would have proven where the rocket went, but they don't have it. And you know how much 2,600 bankers' boxes is the equivalent of 33 pallets. You couldn't even fit it in a semi-truck. You would need to get a second one to fit the last freaking 5. That's a lot of freaking tapes to lose in the couch. The greatest achievement of mankind, they lost the actual evidence for. I mean, it beggars belief. I mean, there's other issues. The easiest thing to prove is fake is the fucking Apollo mission. But that's way off topic. Whatever they did, so what? The fact of the matter is, nothing NASA says we can confirm. Right? We would just have to trust them. And then that goes, why should we trust them? Remember what earlier I said? We're not into trusting. We're into evidence. We're not into the trusting thing. You know, we could trust them, but they've given me no reason to just trust them at face value, especially when they say crazy shit like I went to the moon. It would be less ridiculous to say you saw Bigfoot riding a fucking unicorn. Okay, that's more plausible than going to the moon. When you think about it, how crazy that is.
Yeah, it's the greatest
They burn you at the
feat of
stake 1,000
humanity.
years ago. I'm going to the moon. Fucking tie him up, right? They fucking. In fact, Kepler wrote. Johannes Kepler wrote about. What do you call it? It was a work of fiction in which a witch rode a broom to the moon. In the first science fiction was written. It's called a True Story. It's the first work of science fiction is written by Tacitus during the Roman Empire. It's a story about how the people of the moon fight the people of the sun. Now they thought the sun was included as a planet back then, right? They just thought the sun was a planet. It was just a bright planet or something. So they didn't make a distinction between the moon and the sun as far as what it was. So the whole story is about people on the moon fighting people on the sun. You know what I mean? They had a war. So I alluded to this earlier, like these ideas of space and all, they way predate the evidence. People have been fantasizing about this shit for a long time. I mean, every culture has had some story about the stars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why do you think we're the ones that are right?
Yeah,
Everybody else was wrong, and now we are right. Even though whatever we say Whatever anybody says about them can never be actually verified. Too far away, right? Stars made of
Yeah.
helium. Okay, fine. How can you check that? You can't. You can make inferences about what the light does, but they claim not. This is what they claim to know by looking at the light, by looking at the rainbow, right? So they look at the rainbow and know how far away it is, how fast it's moving, what it's made of, how old it is, how big it is, how fast it's spinning, all this shit. They say that they know this from a little pinpoint and looking at a spectrograph. That's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like, to me, it is, dude. Like, I mean, imagine just looking at, like, and analyzing the light and saying you know all this stuff about something. I mean, that's like a magician's trick, right? The Amazing Kreskin, he goes in the crowd and he's like, your birth date's, 1927, 6 o'clock. Your mother's name is frickin' Rita. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's guessing all these facts about people. Psychically. It's on par with that as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, when it all comes down to brass tacks, whatever that is, we can't verify it. What they depict, the images they depict, we can check that if that exists in reality. That's all we can do. The same way that if you went somewhere, like say you went to 10 miles north of freaking Houston, Texas, and took a picture and said, "Hey, go get a picture of this building," and then someone goes there and there's no building there. They know your photo's fake. They don't need to know how you faked it or anything. If the building's not there, what's depicted in the photo, your photo's fake. Assuming they didn't rip the building down in the time period, say it's the freaking 2 hours later. Obviously, they didn't rip the building down. So they take images and they say, hey, this is what the Earth looks like from space. Well, it has certain things in the image, like curving oceans and things like that. Can we check that? Can we check the features in that photograph, before the photograph, to see if they exist on Earth, where we are, right? Because we should be somewhere in that photograph, right?
Mm-hmm.
They just don't have the resolution to pick us up, but wave to the freaking camera, right? We should be somewhere in there, right? And since we're somewhere in there, we can check the Earth to what they took a picture of and see if that picture matches reality. And I hate to tell you, it don't. It's just a faith-based. That's the way a lot of us think about the globe idea, is that it's just a religion. It's just a religion without a deity. It's promulgated the same way. It's got a creation story. It's got a creation of man story. It's given to you by these, quote unquote scientists, but they're the equivalent of priests. And what they say, nobody can check, and they know better than everybody else. And only a special group of people gets to commune with God, as in go to his space. You know what I mean? It's the whole thing. That the structure is like a religion.
Yeah,
In
there's
every
several
aspect.
structures like that
I mean, maybe that's just a human thing where we make structures like that. But creation
yeah.
story, Big Bang. Creation of man story, evolution. The fundamental claims, can you check them? No, you're not a scientist. Just like when people couldn't read the Bible, right? They did.
Mm-hmm.
The priest interprets the Bible for you. What does God say? I don't know. You got to ask the priest. The Pope will tell you what the God says. He communes directly with God. Oh, what's the Earth look like from space? Oh, you can't go there. These special fucking astronauts got to have the right stuff. They go there. You got to just listen.
Shout out to Sonny in Philadelphia, right? I love that clip.
Yeah, word.
Yeah, it's almost
Make
7
everybody.
o'clock where I'm at. So I'm gonna get off and go to bed, but I'm gonna hop back in here tomorrow probably.
All right.
Yeah,
All
thanks
right.
for
Good on
listening.
you.
What's your name? Indio? Gotcha. I'm
Indio,
gonna
yeah.
talk to y'all again soon.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, man,
around.
thanks for
I'm always
checking
around.
in.
For
Yeah,
sure.
man. Thanks for showing up, bro. You're cool, man. You're cool beans. Thanks for
Yeah,
not
you guys
melting
too.
down, getting triggered, and having a psychological episode.
No, I've known Crit for years. We used to talk back in the day all the time. I saw him in here chilling, so I wanted to catch up with him. Yeah, I've known plenty of flat Earth folks and had some good conversations.
Yeah, well, you're welcome back. So
Yeah, I'll join back in. All right, I'll see y'all. Good night.
later, man.
Take care.
Good night, man.
It's good to have a chat like that every now and again to cleanse the filth of the nasty glovers that come through here.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, man. They must be sleeping because nobody ran interference.
I wanted to know who that Crit. You know who that professor is that he was referring to?
Yeah, I think he's talking about if you guys if you remember, you might not. He used to go by Purple Elephant or Big Purple Elephant, like hold on a second, see if I can find him.
If he's a man of his word and what he teaches, then yeah, I would like to have a conversation with him, but also to kind of test the middle as well. Because if it's like one of those things is rules for thee but not for me kind of thing, I don't know.
Yep,
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's the guy I'm thinking of. He came to 24/7 to the check-in, and we checked him in, but he didn't want to go on the live stream, and then we went to like a chill chat or something like that. I can't remember which one, but one of the non-stream chats. And Cyclone talked to him for about an hour, and at some point evolution came up, and then kind of like people were skeptical. I'm skeptical of evolution too. So he's like, nope, fuck it, I'm out.
Oh, he's evolutionist?
Yeah. So they're like, why? I thought that everything was cool. Like your everything's going good. And he's like, yeah, but I mean, everyone's got their sort of sacred cows, and I can't be on a server that's going to deny evolution. And everyone's like,
crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, wait. So everything else you're good with. Let's talk about it. Let's do. He's like, yep. Nope. Fuck you. Bye.
Oh, and he did come in here, the purple.
No, this is the 24/7 main server.
Yeah, but like, I mean, we had interaction with him before.
Yeah. That's what I was hoping. Like, if Cyclone comes by. If it's a guy I'm thinking of, it might be someone different though, because there was a lot of characters, on that server, who were all kinds of things. But if I think that's the guy I'm talking about. I'm trying to find his. It might not be. It might have been Pachyderm or something like that. Or I'm trying to find his name on 24/7 to see, because it would still show up, even though after he left the server, unless he didn't type at all. But then the bot would show when he joined, or a separate account.
I've taken no like actual collegiate courses in like any of this epistemology, understanding. But to me, I think when logic is sound, it's very coherent. It transcends like having to sit there and listen to a lecture and just be like, "Oh, that guy's full of shit." Like you could actually hear the logic in what they're saying. It's coherent, right? So it would make sense to somebody listening, and it's not just something you're accepting because there's somebody that's intellectual speaking of the thing. But it would just be true, like that's the way I view it anyway. That's how I hear information. Like when somebody says something and it does make sense in the realm of like, physics or some way that you can have it, manifest in our physical world, like something that just rings true would be true no matter what. Like it can't be moved. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, I mean, do you feel like when it comes to epistemology that you have to be like,
I think you're lucky your brain ain't tainted.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're just like a normal person, right? So it's like normal people don't doubt how they know things, but epistemology is like the philosophy of how you can know anything. What is knowledge?
Yeah.
What even is it, right? And while it's a it's a freaking entertaining intellectual fucking exercise, that's all it is, right?
Yeah.
In
It doesn't have
practical
you
terms, like, how are you even having a conversation with me if you don't know anything or know how
exactly.
you know something, dude? Like, what are you talking about?
There's foundations of order that everything is built upon, and if you don't have that, then there's no coherence. And that's also in the physical world. It's the same way. We see what is order manifest in, like, the ecosystems that we see. So that to me, it's just like, if there wasn't any, if it was just all random, there would be no coherence whatsoever. Communication would be difficult. Like, you know what I mean? You couldn't relay information.
Well,
So
why don't we
to
talk
me,
to amoebas? Why don't we talk to
Yeah.
amoebas? Because they don't know anything. Okay?
Yeah.
When you don't know anything, you can't communicate. Fuck.
yeah, and it's weird too, because it's almost like, I think about that, Indio, like, just looking at like organisms and the way they operate and the function of them. Like, they might not have eyes and a brain like we do, but they operate in some sort of like realm where things, they eat other organisms, and you know what I mean, like the microorganisms, like they're doing things as if it were like some sort of societal structure, like they don't attack certain ones, they choose to mate with certain, like, it seems like there's a whole other world that's happening there that we don't understand. But I mean, we do understand it to an extent, but we don't know why. Like, what makes the organism do what it does? Why did it choose to eat this other one? And then it turns it into some other, like a protein, or you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, like, how do ducks, like, know how to swim? Like, all of these, how do birds know how to fly? Like,
yeah,
with these instincts that animals have, we call them instincts because they just do them, and we don't have, like, another word. But there's
yeah,
nothing that human beings just do, right? That makes us
yeah.
different. We don't actually, I mean, we do have, like, impulses. I wouldn't call them instincts. I would call them impulses.
Impulses.
But we don't
yeah.
have no instincts like, I'm going to freaking drag my ass on the ground like a dog. We don't do shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We have logic and reason, and that it motivates us and guides us. But like, I don't know, man. Like, I just think that there's a lot of the world that we seem to want to just say how it is, and we don't fucking have a clue, bro. Like, they just like, I mean, I'm just saying what's fascinating to me about the realm that we exist in is I see organisms like, I'll point one out, like a jellyfish, something that's you could see clear straight through. Where the fuck is a brain in that? Like, how does it know what direction
The
to
whole
go?
thing
Or
is a
like,
brain, according to science. The whole thing is a brain.
yeah. I mean, but
The
like,
disembodied brain, man, floating around in the water. They say that that is basically just like its cells are very close to like neurons
yeah.
in structure. Yeah.
What I'm saying is, like, it's so fascinating to me that something like that can choose to go someplace and decide. Not decide is the wrong word, but like it's motivated to do something and not another thing. Like, and it chooses to mate with a certain. It's like,
Yeah.
how do
Yeah.
what's guiding that thing, man? Like, what's the hand behind the puppet?
Be fruitful and multiply. I don't.
Well, I
Well,
mean, they're
even the
almost like
Bible
computers,
describes.
right? Like each animal is kind of like a pre-programmed, almost like a computer, right? It executes
Yeah.
its program,
Yeah.
right? Dog executes its dog
Exactly.
program, and
But it's not only executing
Even the Bible
program.
describes ants as being a curious people.
Yeah. Dude, I'm
curious people.
honestly,
Yeah,
like
pretty curious.
if we remove all the like studies that people have done, and they put like this label on things, and if you could just examine everything outside of what we like, us, like who we are, dude, we're like a giant multi-organism. Like, we're put together by like an enormous amount of different other small organisms. Like, we're a compound, like, of all that. And each and everything is working in unison to make the other thing work. Otherwise, things would break down, and you know what I mean? Like
Like an entire ecosystem.
yeah. We're a walking entire ecosystem. The mitochondria that's in our stomach that breaks food down to turn it into energy, and like the process by which that happens and how we can optimize ourselves. Like, dude, it's so like my mind when I start thinking about it all, it's like there's no way that you can tell me that all of this from an evolutionary standpoint that came from an incoherent thing of like non-living matter. Like, it's just no way possible, bro. There's no way you can convince me that all of this complex, organisms that seem to be moving with some sort of motivation without like some sort of thing that's moving
the
it.
ironic
Out
thing,
of like,
right?
I don't know how to put it. How do you put that into words? Like, what's
Isn't that so funny? That like that's an ironic thing. What you just laid out, and you're like, that's impossible, right? Random chance can't make this complex freaking systems. Like, it's not just one complex system; it's a complex system of systems that are all interlocked, right? Interlinked. The
Exactly.
people that
It's like-
advocate it is possible are the same ones that say they can't fucking know anything.
Exactly.
Which is the craziest shit to me. Like, bro.
That's the brain screw up. Like, to me, it's like, and then the guy left because he, like, the way Crit was outlining, he left because people started talking about evolution. It's like, dude, that's what tipped you off? Like, are you kidding me? Like, don't you see that you're just a walking
Cowboy?
you're
Cowboy
no, not him.
Oh,
The other
somebody
guy,
else?
the professor who were trying to figure out if what his name was, and it was like pachyderm or purple elephant or whatever it was.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that guy. Like, why he left because of evolution. If he was like logical and everything about like not being a brain in a jar made sense to him, like, and then he turned around and he was like, "Well, evolution, man, that's where the line in the sand is. Like, I gotta go." It's like, bro, what? Like, you mean to tell me that the coherence of life itself doesn't give you the inclination that there is a greater process and a greater entity that's behind all of this? Like, to me, that, I don't know, man. I fall out with people like that.
He thinks
How
he's a
can you?
complicated rock.
Well, yeah, but how did the complicated structure of the rock even exist? Like, there had to be some transmission of information to input. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm getting too far into
listen,
weeds, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Man, if the
Yeah,
guy would let me get 5 sentences out, I'd say this. How is it evolution created something that created something called a theory of evolution? So evolution made some self-referent organism. How did that happen? Right? Fucking.
Yeah.
It's
And then-
retarded on its face. It's a snake eating its tail, as it always is with these guys. And like,
Exactly.
I am perfectly fine with snake eating its tail. Seems normal to me.
Yeah, and that's where they draw the line. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You're drawing the line in the sand where you want there to be some sort of like no cause for all the cause that we see. Like, non-living matter just automatically sprang from living matter sprang from non-living matter. It's like, wow, bro. Like, that to me seems more like a fairy tale. And then how all that incohesiveness, just randomness, like, kept together, like in these ecosystems that are so perfectly designed to keep together. Like, even if we say like the body, it's people are deformed and they're not born, like, but still life persists, right? It still continues. And then we see that you're a walking, organism factory, ecosystem, whatever you want to call it. And it's like that thing, however it's put together and working, it's still held together throughout a lifespan. Like, it doesn't just come apart or come undone. Like, the organisms don't decide like, well, I'm taking leave of this thing. Like, it's, I don't know, man. Fuck. I sometimes it does my head in, man, because it's like, how does somebody like have a hard stance on that whole, evolution side? It's just beyond me, man.
Yeah, me too. I don't. To me, it always comes to
I
the
don't know.
problem of sentience, self-awareness. Where does that fucking shoehorn into evolution? And
Yeah.
how would that even be possible? Like, it doesn't make sense on its face.
that's the one thing that when I asked Perplexity AI, I asked it, what's a question that you don't know the answer to? And it said the origin of consciousness. It was like, it was the greatest mystery.
Yeah, it was a freaking muddy pool, man, and bolt of lightning freaking hit it, and then rocks became people. Fuck.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, those rocks that became people were able to reason, like, I'm hungry. I want to go eat that thing over there. Like, dude, what the? Like, that doesn't fucking make any sense. You wouldn't be able to. The organism would.
How is that different than the fucking any creation mythos, right? Zeus molded fucking mortals out of clay, right? And fucking God created Adam out of the dust of the earth, right? From the dirt of the earth. Like, how is that any different? There's no difference in the story. It's the same story. They just go, well, this is science. No, it ain't. There's fucking no science in there at all.
Einstein said. Go ahead, Tito. No, you're good, Tito. Go ahead, man.
Well, I was just gonna build on that because it's the same thing. They say there was no Noah's Ark flood, right? But then they'll say, well, a few billion years ago, the Earth was completely covered in water, right? And then they'll say, there's no such thing as flying dragons. Next minute, they're showing you a pterodactyl. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Einstein said that George Lemaitre's physics was abominable because he didn't like the idea of creation.
Yeah, well, you think about it too. It's like even the creation story and what it was like, where like India was saying, if the creator made people out of the dust of the earth, they're like, that's fictitious nonsense. Don't believe in that. But we're made from rocks and stardust, and like, well, isn't that the same shit? Like, you're talking about the same thing, bro. Like, what? You're not saying anything different. If we're made of the same compounds as dirt is, then you're basically saying exactly what they're saying in the the narrative of creation. You're not saying anything different.
They're saying that the periodic
difference is it made itself. That's the difference. There's no outside agent. It made itself.
Yeah, they want to claim it had this primordial soup orgy, and all of a sudden life just happened.
No, actually, dude, I've heard this, and I don't know if you guys like when you talk about like the origin of life. They were saying that it rained and rained on the rocks, and then lightning struck, and all of a sudden that was the first that ignited the first organism to become.
There was a lightning bolt.
Yeah, there was a point at which there was a crossover from like non-living matter to matter that's animated. So people are trying to always come up with a reason to explain, the origin story. But either way, it was a complex process that it's like telling that complex process to a child. How could you relay that? There's no way. You couldn't tell them like the intricate way that the body was woven together, because we know anatomy the way it looks. Like, it's still complex to us. We don't understand it. Like, can somebody tell you the mysteries of the brain? They don't know that. Why it houses what it does in language and certain areas of the brain. If you affect it in a certain way, it like turns somebody, it changes a person, Yeah, it's a giant mystery, but at the same time, I don't know. It just evolution is never the key. It's never the answer.
I think the key takeaway is that academia won't allow a conversation like this to even happen.
But that's another thing, Indio. Why? If they're all about like furthering, knowledge and trying to have, they say that don't they say that they're all about these types of discussions? They want them to happen. Like, oh, we live off of like people disagreeing with each other. Well, that's not what I don't see that, bro. Like, and now you come from a more collegiate standpoint, and some other people do, but you could also be like, because
different era, though.
you've experienced. Well, yeah, but I'm saying, haven't you experienced the same type of environment? Like the individuals were saying about the same thing. They're like, "Oh, we thrive on diverse conversations, and that's how we come up with new things." Like, but it seems like that's an illusion. Like, I don't see that like being the case when you talk to people that are from, the academic, backgrounds. They sound like they have a worldview that's all there is. Oh, the cosmos is this particular thing, and it's fine if you disagree in the like minute details within it, but the overarching, understanding is still the same. It's the cosmos are the cosmos. We all agree on that. Like,
I mean, when I went to university, it was okay to bring up like metaphysical topics and religion as long as you didn't go cuckoo.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It wasn't. I remember my philosophy class. The guy started it by bringing a fucking Buddhist prayer bowl, like dong, and like that's how we'd start the class. So it wasn't. It wasn't like It wasn't like it is now. It's totally different now, from my understanding. That there is no metaphysics. That there's only the material world, and that's how like the vast majority of it. I think part of it's political, in the sense that they want to promote the materialist atheist worldview, because then everything becomes like a pragmatic freaking nightmare where there is no objective morality, right?
yeah,
You can just like, stick your dick anywhere, I guess.
yeah. That's a good way to put it. Actually, that's a good way to put it. There's no repercussions. There's no accountability, and then the only way you ascribe accountability is based on what a certain group of people feel like ascribing accountability to. Well, these guys over here made up some laws, and we live in the area, so we abide by those laws because the body of those people, the majority of those guys, would agree that that's wrong. But if you move to this other place over here, now this group of people over here, they agree that you can do the thing that these guys disagree with. So you can do the thing that they don't agree with, and that's okay once you move to that area. So you're fine. But if you don't want to if you want to live in a place where you could do the thing that you say you want to do, then just move to that other area where the body of people over there agree that it's okay to do. Like, that's how they reason with themselves. Like, everywhere, there's no standard. Anywhere you go, so long as the group of people agree with your behavior, it's okay. That's fine where you live, they don't agree with it. Yeah, that's okay. They don't agree with it and don't do it, then it's against the law. But when you move to that other area that those guys are doing the thing that you want to do, then it's fine. There's nothing wrong. You're not held to account. You're not. No one's holding you. There's no sky magic up there. There's no one no deities looking at you. Don't worry about it. You can do that thing because that's where those guys say it's okay to do. That's how they do. It's a hot mess, bro.
I know. That's why I say the globe and flat Earth they're an existential question. So like it's like it's one of the bottom bricks of the house, and then if it's a globe at the bottom of the bricks, they can build one type of house, and it's a flat Earth at the bottom of the bricks, another house is built. But the globe house can't support the flat Earth house, and the flat Earth house can support either one, right? So, I mean, you could take a materialist atheist worldview with a flat Earth if you wanted to, with no problem. But the goal, like, it's like to get you to the point where you're in this subjective morality thing, they have to build from like fundamental principles. The only thing that exists is the material world. We're just the consciousness is like an emergent property. There's no objective morality. Freaking religion and metaphysics, they're just mythos. They don't actually matter. All that matters is what works, right? We make models and we call it science, and they work, therefore they're true. And like that's all we care about is whether they're useful, and all these pragmatic arguments, like, which are really just selfish arguments, right? Does this make me feel better, or does it make me feel worse? Okay, makes me feel better. It must be true. Like that's really what it boils down to. But they have to build, right? They have to build up the identity, right? The identity is built from the first rung, and it's just stacked on top of it, like it's a big layer cake.
and they defend that position as if it's some sort of thing that if you take that away from them, it's like, dude, well, then if you're saying that this isn't the case, then what do I got? I mean, what am I left with? If you're saying that things have to be coherent and it be in a way that order is about the rule of the day, then all the disorder that I see happening doesn't, like, how can I make sense of that if I can't ascribe to, like, if there not being some sort of hand behind the glove, you know? So that they're trying their hardest to, like, try to make it seem like there isn't a hand behind the glove because they don't want to live in a world where there's something else that's motivating them to do the thing. Right? They don't want to be just. I think that's all it is. It boils down to they don't want to be held accountable to the shit that they talk about, bro. It's like no standards whatsoever. It's like, yeah, I mean, well, why do you think that? I don't know. I get too far
Yeah,
into
I
weeds
mean,
with it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but
it's
that's a common thing. If you look at scripture, dude, it's a common thing in scripture. Man's always trying to avoid accountability. That's what we do. That is really the fall of man. We didn't want to be accountable. Think of what Adam said. That bitch gave it to me.
Nah.
Wasn't me.
yeah.
Yeah, I love
I would
using
say-
that. A weasel. He weaseled instead of like he just stood up there and said, "What happened, Adam?" Well, I know you told me not to do it, but I was a little pussy whipped and I did it anyway. But it's on me because I should have been in charge of Eve and told her not to do it. And then after she did it, I should have punished her myself. But now that I'm a weasel and a wimp, and I tried to blame her and not take responsibility, looks like both of us are gonna get kicked out. He's like, damn right, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, but today, like, what does that look like, you know, as an individual that comes in here? Isn't it the same thing? When you tell them about the worldview that they can't explain is what they think that it is, you know, like what are you, Earth's not a globe. Like, what are you guys, nuts? You know, are you crazy? And we're like, well, show me the way that you know that information is true. What can I hold you accountable to that you say in anything that you're saying? Well, I'm not a scientist. You know, easy escape, easy way out. I'm not a scientist. You know, they're not held accountable there, so there's their escape card. And if you question them on anything else, it's like they don't want to be held accountable to anything. Not the new word of the day is being agnostic to the shape of the earth. Have you guys heard it? That's a new trend. I'm agnostic. I'm not either one, or I'm not for or against. I'm just, I'm just here to ask questions. Yeah, but why? What the fuck is motivating you to ask anything if you don't even think of the reason to know it have any meaning? Like, it doesn't have meaning to tell you anything because you don't give a shit. You're not taking a position one way or the other. It's not going to matter.
Well, there's the other thing too. There is. I think that they have some of these guys have a perception of accountability, and that's to the scientism cult, right? Because they always appeal to the cult. You go, oh, all the scientists, all the people, the 9.5 billion people in the world think the Earth's a globe. You know what I mean? They appeal to some social structure, right? That approves the way they think. And they don't approve of the way we think because we're not agreeing with all those other people, right? And disagreement in a socialist society is that's the worst sin, right? You got to go with the herd. Don't run the other way, cow. Like, run with the herd, stampede if you have to, and that's really that. I think there is an accountability, but it's a different type of it's accountability to their freaking herd mentality. That's why they come in here and lie, and they go, well, I saw a curve from an airplane. That's a blatant lie. It's like a weird, like, how many people come in the other server and they just come in just like, Earth is round, and then leave the server. It's like a fucking weird virtual signal.
Yeah.
Psychotic thing, dude. I don't even understand that.
Yeah,
Imagine going in a server, just typing Earth is flat and leaving.
That's so fucking fascinating to me. That's why, like, more than just like, hey, we bring the facts to them. You know, we're showing them things that they didn't know. When we show them that, how do you know what you know? They're like, oh, you know, that's what I've been told. You know, that's the way it is. And you're like, yeah, prove it. Well, I mean, I'm not a scientist. You know, so it always falls back to the no accountability thing. But at the same time, there's this like reaction in their brain that they can't get over. It's like, fuck, I can't be stumped. A flat earther, a guy who rejects what I've always known to be true. Like they keep coming back. It's just like a cycle, it's just like I'm examining these individuals coming. It's like some type of psychosis, like breakdown, dude. It's something's happening to these guys, bro. And either we've caused it, like in their conversation, or I don't know, like.
You mean like Scott Mackey, who's in here saying it's fascinating when flat earthers tell each other how smart they are. I don't remember us telling each other how smart they are. I don't even know why you would bring that up.
He hallucinated.
Do you feel intimidated or something?
No, he's suffering from hallucinations.
No, because nobody else can be smarter than Scott Mackey. He's.
Well, I mean, no one was even talking about that. Like, what? Like, where did that come?
Because
you're doing it right now. No shit, I'm addressing your fucking stupid comment.
Yeah, you think about like Crit, what he always says to like these guys love to punch down because it makes them feel special.
Yeah,
they know that it's Crit nailed it, bro. Like when he said it, I was like, dude, I've seen this type of behavior, but I see it more prevalent with those who feel like they're in some sort of academic hierarchy. They've come from a collegiate standpoint. They're just like, well, I have a bachelor's in science, and you guys are simple-minded flat earthers, and they're coming in here, right? And I'm pretty sure he feels the same way. He's like coming from some sort of psychology background or whatever he says he does, and then he's coming in here like looking at us like with a microscope. Oh, well, look at these guys. They say they are acting like they're all smart, but look at me. I'm even more intelligent than that. So he's punching down, and it makes him. It kind of puts him in a state of mind where he feels good about himself. He can go about his day,
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Oh yeah, I'll say when I was on Chimpanzees one time, and they're fucking around with the roles, and they gave me a role that I could see some of their back chats and what they're up to. They're always kind of plotting shit, which is what the guy who originally owned the server was Mr. Memer, and it was really meant to kind of organize raids against other servers. But when Discord changed TOS, you can't do that anymore. They just kind of set the space for them to kind of sit in their own shit. So what you generally see is about 49% of them want flat earthers to either shut up. Your two choices. Like if they've got power, if they have control over anything, because they really only have control over themselves. Because you see how they just react to stuff. Like there's a conversation between people, and he's in the side chat hallucinating and triggering. So he wants you to either shut up or die. Go away. As a flat earther, you don't get a voice in society. You've lost that. And many times you've even lost your humanity. Like you are dehumanized for wrongthink. And there's another 49% who think that they're here to teach you or help you. All they need is
to save you, to convert you back to the globe.
But they also are in a contradiction because they'll tell you that flat earthers can't learn also. So they're in this like back and forth ping pong where they're trying to teach somebody, but they know the person.
Great. Here's another one, man. The one where they go, you don't understand physics, and then they call you a liar afterwards. Well, what am I? If I don't understand it, then I can't be lying. That should just be like,
yeah, that massive cognitive dissonance where they're like, your answer is a wrong answer. It's also a lie answer, and it's no answer whatsoever. Like no answer was given. You're like, really, dude? How? Like, show me the mental gymnastics you did to adjudicate an answer you think's not an answer. Then the person was just wrong, but they also lied. So is it now back to like a right answer?
Dude.
Yeah, you're wrong and lying somehow. I don't know how that works.
And you didn't answer at all. Yeah, and no answer was given.
And a third one, no answer. You didn't answer the question.
Yeah, so I didn't answer, but my answer was a lie, and it was wrong at the same time. And they're like, yeah, and in their worldview, that makes sense. Like they really think that's possible. Like in the grand scope of things, that's how it works out for them. That they can use different like targets, like say that like, you like call them balls or strikes, like an empire. Say that fits this sort of Venn diagram, but you try to ask them to explain it, and they can't. They can't explain their worldview. And then the last, like, say 2% of these, like, sort of, anti-flat earthers, they're just tribalistic assholes. They just picked it. They saw a debate, like kind of like a Rob Noxious. They saw a debate, they saw a topic, and they just wanted to be on the winning team for some reason.
I converted a flat earther in real life, and it was good for
You could
both
write a
of us.
book, bro.
And
That's all I gotta
now we
say.
talk about actual conspiracies, and he doesn't think the whole world is lying to him. He's better at discerning what's a lie
neither
and
do
what's the
I.
truth.
Neither do I. I don't think the whole world's lying to me.
There's a lot of positive reason, There's
Well,
it felt
I
good.
mean,
He
if
thanked
you don't
me.
know,
So
then like you tell somebody something and you actually don't know what it is. You just believe it. You're not lying. Like you'll tell me the Earth is a globe, but you're not lying. You believe that. You're wrong.
yeah, no, I was just trying to say there's maybe some people that are arguing because they want better.
You got to
for
ask your
you.
question. Lars, you got to ask a question, though. What did you convert him into? If he's converted, what was he before, and now what is he now?
He thought the Earth was flat. He got the TikTok
Why?
algorithm.
Why?
He didn't have a why. He had a lot of questions and
There was no
incredulous.
why.
He had
Lars,
incredulity. He
I'm gonna
couldn't
ban you for
believe it.
lying unless you start
Hey,
substantiating shit, bro.
what's the
Okay?
question?
If you
I'm
don't
just
start
telling you.
substantiating shit, I'm gonna ban you for lying.
You want me to substantiate? You want me to bring the guy in that now thinks the Earth
Yeah,
is a
I
globe?
do. I do. And I'm gonna interrogate him. Yeah, I do. Bring him in.
I'd like to
Okay.
know
Well,
what he's got to say. Yeah, bring him in there.
the point is,
Yeah, it looks
it was
like
good
you
for
might
both
want
of
to
You're a
us.
rephrase
liar.
it.
He thanked me. I said, "You're
Yeah,
welcome.
hey,
Let's
dude.
talk about actual
You're
fun
a
conspiracies."
fucking liar, dude. What? This is so funny.
No,
You
it's just true,
are
buddy.
the person you say doesn't exist.
Yeah, I think you should rephrase it. You didn't convert someone. There's somebody who was sort of bi-curious,
Yep.
and then you brainwashed them, or you
You'd be
manipulated.
assuming
Why do you thank you?
assumption.
Why do you thank you, Lars? What do you thank you for?
He said thanks. I mean, most of the conversation was
What do you thank you
details
for,
about.
dude?
I don't know. I
Why
don't
do you
think he
thank you? You
detailed. I
said he
think he just
thanked you.
said thank
Why?
you. I didn't
Why?
say why. I said you're welcome.
Yeah, well, in what context did he thank you?
Because you gave me a cup of coffee or something?
You have a reach around? Lars, you're the very person you just said doesn't exist. You came in here, you just told us a cock and bull story. You know it, I know it, we all know it.
He's only doing that so that he can make it sound to the audience that's listening. Oh, somebody got converted back to the globe by
For you
this
to be
guy?
so sure that
What did you say to him that
it's
converted
I
him?
impossible to
am
convert.
sure.
What did
For
you
you to
say
be
to him
I
that
bet
converted?
$100 you're lying, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
Lars,
talking
what did you
for you.
Yeah, Lars,
Let me
hold on.
talk.
What did
$100
you
on the
Let me
table,
talk.
Lars, to bring that dude in here. $100 on the table.
Let me
right
talk.
now.
For you
Go
to
get him.
assume that I'm
Go
All
get
right.
him.
All right. What did you say to him that converted him? That's what I want to know. What was it said to him? Let's hear your little conversion speech, Lars. Tell me what you said to him.
okay, so for you to assume I'm lying, you'd be assuming way too much that
No.
you can't know. So don't
I'm
call
not
someone a liar.
assuming anything. You haven't substantiated anything.
All right. I'm going to ask you again. Hopefully you heard me this time. What did you say to the guy that converted him? Tell us the same thing, and let's see what you said.
I told him Google Maps works, and he's good at math. He's good at math, and he figured out that if it works on a circle, it cannot work on a flat. And for you guys to assume that not one person has ever been changed their mind from flat to globe and to call me a liar shows your character, because it happens all the time. It's a big world. You can't know that I'm lying. Makes you look stupid to call me a liar. Thank you, dude.
Cool story, bro.
Happens all the time. It happens all the time. It's a big world. Billions of people. You can't know someone's lying.
Oh, no doubt there's people out there.
Google Maps converted him. Google Earth, Google Maps.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, he's always been good at math. He understands geometry. If point to point works on a sphere,
Yeah.
convert that flat. It can never
What
work.
mathematics did you show him? Tell us what mathematics.
I didn't go over any mathematics. He figured out the mathematics on his own. I didn't.
Really?
I
So
asked
you
him the
didn't. You didn't.
questions that led him to globe. I
Yeah.
didn't.
What?
I guess I didn't convert him.
The guy that's good in mathematics heard from somebody who doesn't know mathematics and got converted just as easy.
I mean, maybe he wasn't as deep into it as you guys, but
Well,
he was bothering me for a while about it.
you
and I
think
kept
it? You
telling him,
think
"Dude,
it? You
you're
think
wrong."
it could have been like what Crit said?
What'd he say?
That he was just curious about flat Earth, but he didn't really commit.
He was more than curious. He was. I brought up stars and shit. And he was like, "You really believe that?" It was a many weeks, probably months of us arguing until I got through to him. At a certain
Bro, you're
point,
late
you
to
get
the
deep in
party.
enough. He wasn't deep
You
enough
are
into
late
it
to the
to
party, Lars.
not change his mind. You know, if you're years
You're
into
late to the
something,
party, Lars.
you may as well die with that mindset. But
Yeah, Lars.
You're not
You're
saying
late to the
anything
party, bro.
substantial, man. This is getting annoying. No
hey, dude,
specifics.
I wasn't gonna say
Tell us
anything
something
except, "Hey,
specific
I
you said
converted
to
a
them.
guy." All I was saying is it can be positive. I converted someone. There's other
Yeah,
reasons. There's some
bullshit. Nobody
positivity, and
believes you.
you're the one asking for all this. There is no
Yeah, we're
fucking
asking for the evidence you
substantiation.
converted somebody.
Yeah,
The
okay,
same way we ask
I'll
for
fucking get
evidence
him.
of any claim anybody makes. Every time they make it, we ask for the evidence. So we're asking you for the evidence.
All right, I'll have him make a Discord. I'll text him.
Go have them make a Discord.
Yeah. You want to hear
Now
it
I'm
from
going
in
to
person?
interrogate your friend. I'm going to interrogate your friend, dude. I suppose you as a liar.
Yeah, he'll follow me around like a little puppy now. I can get him to make Discords and cook my dinner.
He said,
Take me.
look at Google Maps and it works. And that's what convinced him the Earth is a globe. Is the biggest horseshit I've ever heard in my life.
That should be enough to convince everyone in here.
Why?
Because if point-to-point distances work on a sphere, they cannot work when converted to a flat object.
Google Maps
And
isn't a sphere. Google Maps isn't a sphere.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. And that guy whooped your ass.
No,
in the debate
it
last night. You
isn't.
just
It's
kept
a
interrupting him
cylinder.
like you're interrupting me.
It's a cylinder. The Mercator
No,
map is a cylinder.
It's a sphere. It's a sphere.
No, you could say that all you want. Google says it's not a sphere.
You can look at the North Pole and the South Pole.
That's
do that
cool.
on a
You
cylinder.
can look at, but listen. The calculations done in it are done on a cylinder. It's a Mercator map. That's what Google says. Do you think Google doesn't know what its Google Maps is?
Could you substantiate that?
You could have substantiated it yourself before you thought it was a sphere.
It is
What
a sphere.
gave you the idea it was a sphere? Nobody told you that.
It is a sphere.
Did it?
Because I
Okay,
said to.
then now apologize. Now apologize, dude. Say you're wrong. Concede. Here's the question, though. Why didn't you check? Now, think about it. If the person did believe you because you said Google Maps was a sphere and it works, now he believes you because you were wrong. Right? So now he believed you on a false pretense. Yeah, Lars. Congratulations, you brainwashed someone with erroneous information. What do you got to say about that?
Okay.
Follow me.
Yeah, I guess you weren't listening, right?
Yeah, conveniently had background issues.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey, Lars. Side chat.
It looks like you're right, and the
You're
Google.
goddamn right I'm right. Why didn't you check beforehand before you brainwashed your friend? Why'd you brainwash him with wrong information?
I didn't mean to. I didn't
mean to.
Yeah, you
Now
did.
Go back and tell him that I'm sorry I was wrong. Go back to being a flat earther. Fucking clown.
You just hoodwinked the guy, man. I would have go apologize to him if I were you or Lars. I would. That's the honest thing to do right now. So go tell
Actually,
him,
say we're
yeah, you're
trading
sorry.
places.
I mean,
Tell him you're going flat Earth and you're leaving him on the globe.
I talked to him a lot. I'm going to tell him about the cylinder thing. Look more into it, but
Yeah, and admit.
that is pretty shocking that it's a cylinder.
Yeah, but you also have to admit to him too that you were wrong. That's also going to be something that you got to do, man. If you're an honest Joe, you should do that.
Yeah, I just did to you guys. I didn't know it was a cylinder.
So, Lars, what you should admit to yourself is that the idea that they use a sphere, you literally just made it up in your head. That's where it came from. You made it up in your head. Nobody told you that. You didn't read it in a book.
I mean,
you didn't read it on the internet. You didn't. Nobody told you that. You just assumed that to be the case. And you know what assume means? It means make an ass out of you and me.
But if you zoom out, it's a sphere.
Yeah, I mean, really, I didn't want any negativity. I just wanted to tell you that I told someone that the Earth is round and he believed me, and it was a positive thing. I do talk to him often.
What bollocks is this?
I'll let him know that the one biggest thing that converted him was
Was a
untrue.
lie.
Yeah.
Why would they lie? Well, this is a good reason.
No, we're not unaware of people saying, like having previously said that the Earth is flat, and then turning around and saying, I was wrong. It's a globe. It just happened recently. With Jaron, Antarctica, then some of his peers, Rob Davison.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to convince someone about a lie. I want him to believe it for 3 reasons. Another thing, you guys didn't get into it. I was listening for like 30 minutes. The evolution thing. Something interesting is I agree you guys have good questions, and I think you mischaracterize academia or scientists, because I think a lot of them will say, like, they believe in the fossil record, but they think maybe it was God. There's a lot of agnostic or theist scientists that believe in evolution, but evolution doesn't violate entropy, which intuitively I always thought it would, but it doesn't. That's about all I got for you guys. I'm just going to go back to listening for a while.
The idea of it doesn't, or the actual process of it?
Because organisms create a lot of disarray in their consumption and waste, and it's enough to offset their.
I said,
their
does the
intricacy.
idea
That's
not
entropy.
conflict with entropy, or does the actual process, which has been demonstrated to be true, not actually violate entropy?
I always just thought, when I learned about evolution first, then entropy much later. So I thought.
So the idea of it. So the idea of evolution doesn't violate entropy.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I don't know what the difference is between the idea and the practice of it is.
Do you know what entropy is?
Yeah.
Okay. What's that?
It's basically the spreading out, the trend towards dissipation and disarray.
Cool. Well done. Okay. And how does this violate whatever you said? Evolution?
Yeah, it doesn't violate evolution. They don't violate each other.
Okay.
That's all. I always thought it would. Goodbye. Going back to mute.
Bye.